Good morning, Jojo. How are you doing today?
I would say I am in a pretty good state. If you'd have asked me that a couple of days ago, it was a slightly different story, but I'm sure we'll talk about that. There was a big mountain that I was climbing this week, but I'm there now. The view is amazing.
It's
And
Thursday, so you've got over the hump in the middle of the week, so it's all going swimmingly now, isn't it?
yeah,
Of course
yeah,
it
it's
is.
good.
And we're chatting live, so it's even better. What more could we ask for?
I love it.
Me
I'm
too.
very excited to be here, Tara.
I'm so excited that you joined me. I mean, we had a chat a while ago about getting you on the podcast, and we never stopped talking for about an hour. So
I
I was,
know.
it was obviously meant to be. It was good.
I don't think we've exhausted it either, have we?
No,
there's
of
still
course.
there's still lots more there.
There's lots, and nobody heard what we're talking about anyway, so we can always recap. It doesn't matter. So I've already introduced you, and you have Creativ-SAS, which is your main focus is just complete sassiness, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. Creativ-SAS has kind of allowed me to be the person that I 100% am. And that is, it's a bold statement, but Creativ-SAS sees me being the business development and branding fairy godmother, and just spreading general SAS. But SAS is my pet name for self-awareness strategy. So that it kind of helps if I pull you into that view from quite early on.
Yes, it's not just being sassy, which you are, of course, and why wouldn't you be? But it's sass with one S because it stands for something.
Well, there's kind of two versions, right? So
Okay.
because I have a hashtag that is sassy not sorry. Now some people see sassy as being a negative thing. I am fully here to promote the positive side of sassy, because sassy stands for lively, bold, full of spirit, and a little bit cheeky,
Of course it
which
does.
for me in business development and life are fabulous ingredients and have always been me. But I used to kind of dull certain elements of them down, where now I'm wholeheartedly unapologetic, sassy not sorry, and it just fits in really nice with obviously my other sass, which is self-awareness strategy, but it all kinds of blends in together for me.
It sounds absolutely perfect. So, what were you doing before you stepped into your sass?
Okay, before I stepped into my, well, to be fair, I did kind of dip my toe in a little bit of my self-awareness strategy before I actually had Creativ-SAS, but that was on a personal level and only on a few bits, but I didn't actually recognise it as doing that until way later on, where I'd grown up a little bit. Although I never grow up, I'm a fairy godmother. We don't age, so I'm
You
staying
don't.
where I am.
You're 102, but you look amazing.
I know, it's good cream. Are we allowed to mention products? Clarins all the way. Anyway, but what I did, so I've got a history and a background of business development and sales for over 20 years. Although I did train as a pastry chef and worked in France as a patissiere for for some time,
Nice.
around all that glorious sugar and spice. Oh, it was lovely. And that's kind of where I applied my creativity to begin with. Totally by accident, ended up in sales, totally by accident.
Okay.
And that's a long story. We'd be here for quite a few days if we went down that path as well. But totally by accident, ended up in sales, did that for 20 years. And then came to a place where I was really frustrated with the lack of just decent service delivery by providers, as in that I was the seller and I was either the seller or the consumer from both sides,
Yeah.
really frustrated by the lack of just really good customer service and service delivery. And when you're selling it and you're the face of it and you're out there, it's really, really hard when your client is let down by the people or the service delivery behind you.
Yeah.
When you're not in charge of that situation, you can say, look, I'm going to do the best I can for you. And I used to babysit most of my clients' jobs just to make sure that everything went the way that I would want it to go.
Yeah.
So on doing that, it came to sort of one of my last roles where the final straw just came and my integrity was compromised. And I literally was just like, no more. enough is enough. The only way I'm going to make a difference here or make a change is if I'm the boss and if I'm actually the person responsible for that service delivery.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can make this change. When we spend our money, whether it be a company, a corporate company, or a person, you work hard for that money. You take yourself away from your nearest and dearest to earn that money. So where you choose to spend that, to me, should be for someone that gives you fair exchange and treats you how they would like to be treated.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my core value, always has been, even when I was in selling, sort of as in business development. No matter who I worked for, I always treated that company as if it was my own and how I would want to treat people. Problem was, it wasn't my own. And so then when it came down to it, and if there were consistent mistakes that were being made, or, you know, people being let down, it was just so frustrating. And it used to drive me insane. But I used to feel the same if I was a consumer, in the sense of, if they'd let me down, I would always give feedback. Feedback is a gift, whether it's negative or positive. It's what you do. If you get a complaint, it's what you do with it. It's how you deal with it.
Don't you? I mean, you know, that's the whole point of feedback. It's not critical, constructive. You better yourself because of it.
You grow. And, you know, if you failed, you fail forward. You're always learning something. And for me, it got to that point. I mean, I was 45 when I started Creativ-SAS. And it got to the point, I was at a bit of a crossroads. And I was like, okay, I've got two choices here. I can go and get another job for another company. Yeah. But you know what? Nothing changes if nothing changes. The same thing's probably going to happen again, because I am very passionate about it. So I am quite opinionated. I'm a little bit bossy as well. But I just like...
sassy, not bossy.
Well, bossy and sassy in the sense, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit bossy, because it just means you're trying to lead to something, you know, for the greater good is how I see it.
Yeah. Okay.
So...
Fair enough.
Yeah, see, I flip everything round to a positive. It's reframing. It's what I do. But I thought nothing changes if nothing changes. So I had a choice. Do I sit back, go and get a part-time job where I could earn? I was on a pittance of a wage at this point, the lowest wage that I'd ever been on. But that was a choice, because I had got to a point where I thought, because of all these different things that had happened and these letdowns and my frustration, I thought the problem was, maybe I just need to sell something I absolutely love, because I've sold labels, I've sold maintenance consumables, really not glamorous when you think of me in my tutu and my crown.
Not really.
But it was always about my clients. I've sold bras as well. So, and then what I thought was, right, maybe it's because I need to be selling something that I absolutely love. Maybe that will be what it is. And when my daughter went to senior school, I was ready to kind of go, okay, I'll change. Because I've been in one job for quite some time, so really established a good clientele and everything else. And it was great structure for me being a mum with a child in primary school. Anyway, so I found this job that this product that I absolutely loved. And basically...
That's the glitter.
Well, it is, but I wasn't really going to mention it because it didn't end that well. So I didn't want to, in the sense of that, I did decide to go. So I was keeping a bit of an anonymous thing going on there, but you've just broke it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, nobody knows what glitter it is, but it's sparkly anyway. It has to have... It was
sparkly. It was a sparkly product.
Yes.
Let's just say that. So anyway, went to work for them and thought that would be the key for me. In my new adventure, my new career and everything. But as it happened, my integrity got compromised and it wasn't. And I was like, right, okay. But because I chose the product, because I chose to work for this company, I took a huge salary drop. So I'd already made a big change in life, a big decision. So when this like happened, when the integrity thing happened, I was like, right, I'm on a really small wage. I could earn this doing a part-time receptionist's role. I'm 45, my life's over, I'm nearly done, I'm old, I'm this, oh my goodness, no. But you get to that crossroads and you're like, okay, do I take my foot off the gas now, do a part-time receptionist role, go in to work, go home, not really have to I'm not dulling down any receptionists, by the way, but something that was easy and didn't require, because doing sales for that amount of years, you were starting every month at the beginning of the mountain again, because you're always on your target, you're always on these different things. So every month was, you'd get to the end of the month, you've reached target, yay, next day, overnight, shit, here we go again. Yeah. So kind of thing. However, I did love what I did, and I did love who I did it for, like with, kind of thing. So anyway, so yeah, decision, crossroads. Do I do something for myself, which had been a niggling thing for many years? People had always been saying to me, you should do something for yourself, you're so creative, you're so this, and I'd made a success of pretty much everything I'd done. But I had huge, colossal imposter syndrome, in the sense of, I've got no qualifications. I've only got some GCSEs that I did all right in at school, mainly French, because I loved French and I'd gone to work in France. So I'd only excelled. Yeah, I'd only excelled in the things that I loved. First pointer there, remember that one. So, and I hadn't got any qualifications. I'm a curvy girl, so I always thought about my weight affecting it and stuff like that. And my crown has always been on the wonk, it's never been straight. So I am far from perfect. So I didn't think that I could do my own business. I didn't think that I could run that. So I'm at this decision and I'm like, okay, what do I do? And I thought, you know what, Jo, if you want to make a change in this, if you want to do something, the only way is for you to take that step. I've always been quite courageous in different things. And once I set my mind to something, I'd do it. But this business thing, me being a director, was massive.
It is scary.
It's huge. It's a massive leap of faith, huge, because financially as well, for me, I wouldn't know where my next, £30 was coming from if I took this decision. So I did decide to take a part-time role, but also start my own company as well. I was just going to do it to just get by, just do a bit. I'd always done signage as part of some of the maintenance, facilities management and stuff like that. And people had always flocked back to me for signage, because I think they got a way more service than they bargained for, because it was where I could throw creativity in there as well as my service delivery. My creativity and my brand awareness came to life and things like that.
Yeah.
I made it really personal for people. So that had always done well. So I'd got a bank of suppliers. I knew how to do it. I was good at it. And I thought I'll just do a little bit of signage. So Creativ-SAS actually started as Creative Signs and Services. That's where Creativ-SAS started. So I did that, and it started to gain a little bit of momentum, and it started to go well. But as this happened, when you start your own business, your self-awareness comes into it huge, because in order for you to keep leveling up, you absolutely have to be self-aware, because if you don't develop, your business won't. And that was a massive learning curve for me, where I had to pull on all my strengths. I had to pull on all, what I'd got in my locker, basically. I did have to turn my pumpkins into my potential, because those were my resources. Those were my...
Don't say pumpkin too loud, my dog will get worried. She's called Pumpkin.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what's she going to do to me?
That's just given me the shivers, in the sense of, I love that, because we're meant to be, right? So yeah, I took the leap, and the business started to move forward, but I started to grow, because I am creative, because I had been in business development for 20 years. So obviously my business development skills were naturally homing in, and I hadn't thought about that to begin with.
No.
I was just going to get by. Second mistake, think big from the beginning. Don't think small. Don't think small.
In a little hole, aren't you, straight away? Yeah.
Straight away, I was limiting myself straight away. But it started to gather momentum. I mean, there's loads of hints and tips and things like that that actually got me to where I am, but it all came down to self-awareness, strategy. So I'm where am I now? November, December, January, February, March, April. I am 17 months in now to my business. I started it in November 19, literally just before the world changed. And this happening in a year where we've had what we've had, the growth has been phenomenal. don't get me wrong, it's not just happened overnight. There has been a lot of hours, there's been a lot of work, it's taken a lot of work. But for me, that's a big part of it. It's about being intentional and taking action and doing stuff rather than just saying it.
But fairy godmothers have got to do some work, haven't they? You can't just sit there with your little wand and your tutu.
Your wand, do you know what? I'm going to bust a myth here.
Go on then.
The wand isn't actually a magic wand. It's just a pointing stick, because it literally points you in the right direction. It doesn't actually. You've still got to do the work. You just got to know where you're going, and you just got to go, point, yeah, let's do this. Point, yeah, let's do this.
At least sprinkle stardust.
Yeah, I mean, I've got glitter everywhere.
That's what I mean, without it, what's the point? You might as well just
without that, what is the point? So, but yeah, that's where, I mean, I feel like we've just dug deep and we've got through a lot of the journey, but like I say, there's a lot more to that. I surrounded myself with awesome people. Really
important.
So important. And my self-awareness strategy is what has propelled me to where I am now. That coupled with the business development, that coupled with my branding, the branding journey is a whole other story for me. Because as I was just about to start on my journey with Creativ-SAS, nearly made a colossal mistake. And I was about to show up as somebody who I thought I should show up as a director.
I was suited and booted, was it?
Well, I have a nemesis that was that person that I called Jeff. I was about to rock up as Jeff, the business person, Jeff, the businessman, business suit, consultant, that kind of thing. Say that again, sorry.
Briefcase.
I have a briefcase. It is a bit of a sassy one because, you know, there was a little bit of that coming through, but and I was about to rock up as Jeff and literally was saved at the traffic lights just before I was about to go across and go wholeheartedly into Creativ-SAS as Jeff, if you like. Wrong branding, me thinking I needed to appeal to absolutely everybody. I just rocked up with a bit of a logo that I'd thrown together, and that's how I thought I needed to show up. How wrong could I have been? And I was pointed in the right direction by the fabulous Danny Wallace, who it is no secret that I absolutely love this woman, and she's my mentor.
I love Danny Wallace too, I have to say. She's been on my show already.
See, I'm following her footsteps everywhere she goes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I stumbled across Danny. We had a bit of a connection. She took some time out to meet me at one point when she was in Birmingham. Totally, it could have gone either way. She went out on a limb, I went out on a limb. We went and we met. I introduced her to Jeff, my original branding, and as I popped the business card down on the table, I said to her, right, it's not really me, but, and she went, I'm going to stop you there. She went, what's made you successful in the whole of your career? I was like, me, my personality, my bubbliness. And she went, and I was like, my sassiness. And she went, why are you changing? Why are you changing? And it was like an epiphany. It was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because I literally was about, but my childhood is quite complex. And I think the reason I've always sought acceptance, belonging, just fitting in kind of thing.
But it's fitting in a crowd that's not your crowd, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't just that. It was just me trying to be what I thought everybody might need or want me to be, rather than me being what I wanted to be. One of my core sayings is treat people as you would like to be treated. Yeah. I was missing a massive part of that. I wasn't treating myself how I wanted to be treated. I was doing it for everybody else. It was one of my core values, but I'd never really listened to my own voice. Hence, again, the self-awareness strategy, because once you do listen to yourself, that's when you actually really belong, because bespoke is where you belong. There's only one you. Yeah. That, coupled with getting your branding right, all about you, all around you. Because after Danny, the thing with me is, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, I have like volunteer Tourette's. If somebody says, can I have a volunteer to do this? I'll go, yeah, I'll do it. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that? But if somebody points me in a direction and I trust that opinion, they've been good enough to give me that advice and take that time out. Don't get me wrong, you don't always take every bit of advice.
No.
But if I feel it, I act on it and I take action and do something with it. When Danny said that to me and I had that moment, it was like, oh my God, Jeff went in the bin. And sorry, Jeff. He still comes out every now and again for me just to go, this is how not to be. This is how to be. And I went wholehearted, because when I created Jeff, I was like, no pink, can't have any pink. I want to be taken seriously. I want to appeal to everybody, blah, blah, blah. And when I was doing it with my friend, they were like, it's missing pink. I was like, no, I was adamant, no pink. I mean, look at me now. You can't look anywhere without there being pink.
No, there's plenty of pink.
But that is me.
Yeah.
And I needed to own that. And I needed to crown it and be totally proud of it. The minute I did that, everything just like catapulted. And because I was me, because I was being wholeheartedly me, when you're yourself, and especially within business, it becomes effortless to sell your brand, to promote it, because you're passionate about it. It's totally aligned with you. You're not trying to be something. You haven't got to put on a show. You haven't got to put on a pretense. It just is you, and you believe in it wholeheartedly. As to when I say you believe in it wholeheartedly, obviously you have to work on your self-belief, which is something I do as well with my clients, but it's crazy. It's like unlocking.
You've got to get in alignment with yourself and your business, because they've got to match. Definitely.
I absolutely have to. And what with me doing business development, me working with brands and always fitting it and making it work, the key for me was that it had to be about me. It had to be totally aligned in order for the two to correlate. So business development, bang on brand that was aligned, self-awareness strategy. Oh my God, it's been amazing. But it's having all those things in place and working on all those things that has enabled Creativ-SAS to, be what it is. And now, because I'm so passionate, the fairy godmother thing is a big thing, because it's about helping people. It's about showing them the way and holding their hand. And because I was so nervous about doing it.
Yeah.
And
it is, if you don't know what you're doing, it's scary stuff, isn't it?
It's so scary. I mean, I don't know about sort of like your clients or your clientele. That's probably something they massively come to you for, because they just need that support. They just need that backup. They almost need somebody as well to have throw those conversations around with.
I mean, my clients, they don't know what they want to do. They don't necessarily have a business idea when they get there. It's just they want to do something and they don't know what it is yet, but then they haven't got the confidence to even look to see what they're passionate about. Like with you, when you find what you want to do, what really drives you, that's a completely different, or you're coming from a completely different place, aren't you, energetically?
Massively. Energy is everything as well, because you need to jump out of bed and want to go to work every day. If you aren't doing something you love, if the energy isn't there, you're going to be waking up thinking, I don't want to see Jeff today. And you're not going to want to do it. So then you're not living the life that serves you. And that was something that was big for me as well. As much as I wanted to make a difference in the service delivery, which is how it started, I wanted a life that served me as well. So that was a big part of creating something. I mean, I'm doing more hours now than I've ever done in my entire life. However, what I will say is I absolutely love it. And I always said, when I went to work for any other company, the first 6 months are the hardest. You'll get out what you put in. And I've set myself a target of the first 2 years of being the hardest, because it's my own business. And I've started it from scratch with nothing. So I knew that the first couple of years would be hard, but everybody has to do it to suit them. When I need to, I take my foot off the gas. And, because I'm aware that I need to be safe and look after myself in the same way. But I love what I'm doing and I can't get enough of it.
I completely hear you. Exactly. No matter how many hours I do, it just doesn't feel like I'm working. And was it Oprah Winfrey or somebody that said a quote about, if you're doing what you love for a job, you don't feel as though you're actually working. It's something along those lines.
You never work a day. No, you never work a day in your life if you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm on this mission now, like a big game of tag you're it, right? Because what I actually want to do is tag people and go, tag you're it, you can do this. Do you know you only have to do this, this, and this, and you can feel like this. You can have this freedom. You can make a success of it. I mean, I'm very blessed in the sense of my business development side of me is, that's what I did for 20 years. So it actually, all those skills and all those negative times or bad times, they've all massively came into play now because, they're my background, they're my experience.
Yeah.
So I've started my business, so I do have that, hence the reason why I do some business development stuff as well now. But I get to choose now what I do. And, it's the helping part of it as well. I briefly mentioned about my background. I was, I say a foster care survivor because I've had, mine's a happy ending, even though there was some trauma through it. Yeah. I'm very grateful and blessed for the life that I had because it could have been so different. So for me, that's where I think the acceptance and everything, that's where I was going a bit wrong, but I'm aware of that now.
Yeah.
So when it comes knocking, which it does every time I level up, there's some big level ups going on at the minute, and my self-awareness strategy, I use it all the time because every time you move up, you get the same mind monkeys knocking on the door.
It's true.
And it's a
sorry.
It's a constant. No. It's a constant thing. So it's a constant work in progress.
Yeah, I think it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. So when you first start your business, like you're really excited and you haven't got a lot of expertise, but you've got a lot of confidence because you're going for it. And then the more you're doing it, the less you feel as though and you're going into a dip and you're like, I know nothing. And you get to the bottom and you're like, I don't know anything. And it's like, well, do I quit or do I carry on? Or screw it, I'll carry on. If you carry on, you come out the other side and you've got all this expertise and all this confidence and you're at the peak and you keep going up. But when you're growing, you worry, you think so the more that you do, the more you think you don't know.
I love that you've just said those two things, the worry and the what if. Yeah. These are a huge part of what I call my wish wheel. And it's a signature thing that I've done. And it actually looks at the wish, the worry, the what if, and the why. And it follows it round. And it's all of those things, though, because no matter whether you're talking about, shall I buy those high heels because I absolutely love them? The first worry is, but will I be able to walk in them? So do you know what I mean?
That would definitely be my worry.
Well, especially after lockdown, yeah. But there's going to be a lot of health and safety claims, I think, once we're all allowed back out. Stay away from the heels, people. Do it gradually. But whether it's that small decision or whether it's something huge within business, I have noticed that this has been my strategy, and I'm huge about creating wishes into reality because anybody can do it. You all have the power, and it's literally within you. If I can do it, somebody that hasn't got any qualifications, absolutely a tech phobia, like massive tech phobia. I hate tech. I'm a creative. I'm not a techno person.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But now I've got a website, an email list, subscriptions, sales pages, things like that. I started off doing them myself. Now I'm getting somebody to do it because I hate it. But I was capable.
I don't do that either.
No, but I was capable. At the beginning of business, like I said before, at the beginning of business, you know, you have to invest one of two things. It's either time or money. So if you haven't got one or the other, when you're starting your business, don't let I haven't got the time stop you. If you've got the money, it's either time or money you need to invest.
You have to pay somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah. So, but if you haven't got those funds, then you invest the time. At the very beginning, I invested loads of time into this, and I did it all myself. You know, so there's certain things that I can do now, but now I steer away from them if I can help it. But there's still things now, you know, there's not huge budgets within my business. I'm getting to the point, you know, the first year, yes, I made a profit. Yes, I did a really good turnover, but I've invested lots of it back into the business because, again, it's about investing in yourself and it's about moving it forward. Loads of learning curves, Tara. You've probably found the same.
Yeah, definitely. And like you're saying about the wheel, you don't just do it once, you keep doing it. There's always something that you're going to be thinking, can I, what if, where there's always, and it's something new, or it's a bigger version of what you had before, because you're like, yeah, this is going really well. Oh my God. But it's always.
Yeah. I used it recently. It was funny because I just, I mean, this year I launched, I promised myself I was intentional, because that's the other big one. Write that down. Be intentional. If you have an idea, write it down. Because it's like your shopping list. If you don't put your P's on the shopping list, you don't get them, do you? You forget them. So you forget them. So, right, if you have an idea, write it down. So I set myself, I often do a plan for the full year of what I want to try and achieve in that year, and then new things come along and I pop them on, and then we decide which one. I say we, that's me and myself. I have conversations regularly.
Okay. I do it all the time.
I don't know if that's an over 40s thing, or if that just
I don't know. I was doing something the other day and I was talking to myself about what I was doing, and my daughter was stood at the door recording me. She was sending it to my other daughter. She was like, "What's Mum doing?" I was like, "I was singing. Leave me alone."
Well, I can have a full-on row with myself about something, but I get to the stage where I need to get to in the end. But I see, now I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, I was intentional. So I was intentional, and I set myself a goal. I really wanted to deliver a one-to-many course, and I wanted it to be about encouraging courage, confidence, and self-belief, because that, for me, in my business, was my first step. That's the step that I needed. Well, it was a shortcut. I went through a little bit of time where I did all the worry and everything like that. But if I'd have really concentrated on that bit to begin with, it would have actually moved me forward quicker. So because, you know, I do work with people that are doing this, that's something that I wanted. So I was like, do you know what? If people can't do sort of the power hour or whatever with me to get that work going, I want to do a one-to-many, because I want to get out there to as many as I can to get that first step going. So I set myself this goal of, you know, I've not taught, I've not done anything, you know, again, I've not got the qualifications, which used to really hold me back. How was the tech going to work? But this year I delivered a one-to-many. I launched a course called Fab-SAS, Fab-SAS, and it went really, really well. I did it as a beta version, so it was accessible and affordable. It was only a small group, but I only wanted it to be a small group. There were 7 ladies on it, but the results, I do this every time because it's so genuine. The results were so good. And it really blew my mind that was able to happen. And all it was kind of following through the strategy of the things that I had done. All of them are going on to do different things. They've all taken steps forward. We did a survey afterwards, and the results that came through were great. There was absolute proof that the growth had gone on, like percentage, is that a word? Growth.
Well, let's just go with it anyway. It doesn't matter. Does it?
You know, it proved to be successful. So if I can do that, if I can start a business, if I can, I'm working with a huge corporate client at the moment, global, can't say who it is because it's under NDA, but
MI5.
It's they're that bigger company. Let's just say I've just done a staff recognition scheme badge for them, where created from, they gave me creative license, on it, to what it should look like, what it should be about. And then literally it went from the idea in my head to we've actually produced the badges and they've gone out now. And it's a global company, but you can't talk about it because they can't be seen to promoting individual suppliers and things like that.
Fair enough.
So, but say that again, sorry.
That sucks though, doesn't it?
It does, but you know what? I know it. Yeah. I know I've done it. The money's gone in the bank, so the bank. So in that sense,
you told me who it was.
Oh, did I tell you? I can't remember if I told you. So you know, for me to have, and I'm not saying this for braggadocious love. I'm saying it because I want people to know that if I can do that, 100%, everybody else has the power to do it. It's just
that passion they've got inside them just needs to come out. It's just they've got so much potential, and it really makes me sad that they keep it inside.
I know. Share it.
I know. How selfish is that anyway? Do you know what I mean? Whatever you've got inside you, there's this huge potential and power. Somebody could really desperately need what you've got to help them, and you're 100%. Not. Yeah, and if you're not helping them, then you know they could go through life and not progress because of that. It's not putting no pressure on you, by the way, guys, but you know.
I'm putting pressure. I'm giving pressure, and I'm giving permission to go out there and try it for yourself. Just take those smallest little steps. Just have that little bit of courage in yourself. But you know what? If you haven't got it to begin with, borrow it off someone. I definitely borrowed it off Danny Wallace at the very, very beginning. She gave me permission to be myself. She, you know, lent me the courage to actually just go, you can do this, right? And what's the worst that can happen? And for me, it's always been, you know, you fell forward, like I said before, but you know, you absolutely can do it. Just tell yourself that just for the first little step. And I mean, I briefly mentioned this, I think, about community. It's massive about community, who you surround yourself with, because I think I've said this to you before as well. If you only keep it in with the community that you are already surrounded with, nothing changes if nothing changes. So go in search of those people that will inspire you to actually take the action, because in the circle that you're probably already you're in people that are your nearest and dearest, people that love you. So you're about to climb up and get on a tightrope, and your family will go, oh great, that's brave, lovely. And then before you step out, they'll probably say to you, right, come down now, come down, that's enough fun.
You proved your point.
You proved your point, because they want you to be safe.
Yeah, they do.
And they don't want to see you fall off that tightrope. That's partly to do with how they're feeling, and partly because they really love you and they don't want you to get hurt. You, me, and a lot of people that we're in the space with, we're the people the other side of the tightrope going, come on, you can do it, come over this side.
And there's a button at the bottom with a net going, it's fine, we'll just bounce you back up again if you fall off.
It's so for me, I surrounded myself and found a community of people that were in the same kind of mindset and doing the same kind of thing. And that was a huge power source for me, because I mean, you can imagine me telling my mum, my dad, my brothers, I'm a fairy godmother. And I'm earning money through it. And they're like, what?
Put the wine down, Jojo. Put the wine down.
But I say it within my community that I'm in, you know, that are all looking to find their passion, their purpose, and what they want to do. And they're all going, go on, Joe. Go on, Joe.
That's stardust everywhere.
So it's community's massive, you know, surround yourself with the people that are kind of on the same you know, path, the same yellow brick road, because you know that will massively help you, and that's a big tick in the box towards your confidence, because you'll see other people doing it and you'll be like, well, if she can do it, I can do it.
And there's also the fact that, you know, when you're in that kind of community, you're supporting other people as well, and as you're doing that, you're hearing yourself talk, and you're like, oh, I should take my own advice, actually.
Oh, hugely.
I'm
Tara,
already
that is a
you
big
go
one.
for it, girl. And I'm like, but I'm not going for it. Hold on, what's this crap all about? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know that is massive, because when I'm about, the other thing I wanted to do as well, crikey, they're all coming out. I really wanted to do motivational speaking because I wanted to inspire people to take action. How was I going to get there? Obviously, I'd met Danny Wallace, but it wasn't about that the first time I met her. But now I'm working with Danny, and I'm part of the Be Inspired cohort. So I'll be talking at that event, and that's a big live event. And don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely
scary.
Can I swear? I'm absolutely shitting it.
Yeah.
Sorry. You can beep that out if you want. But I am nervous, but it's what I set out to do. But when I was in the first process of writing my talk, nothing would come out. I couldn't get it out. I was stuck. I was really in a bad place with it. So what I did was, I remember, and I was leaving it later and later, and the panic was starting to set in, and I was thinking, oh, like you said, you get down in the deep. Do I carry on? Do I not do it?
Yeah.
And literally, this voice in my head went, take your own flipping advice, woman. Take your own flipping advice, right? And I was sat in the garden. We've got like a bar thing in the garden. I'd gone down there for peace and quiet, and I was sat in there, and I thought, you know what you need to do? You need to get your wish wheel out. You need to get that wish wheel out. And I got it out, and I got it in front of me, and I followed it to the letter, and literally it started to flow.
Actually, I do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it started to flow, and I was so stuck. And I mean, there was a double whammy there, because it was like, yes, it works, which I knew it did. I was really glad that I proved it again. Yes, it works, but two, it really, really helped me. And then it flowed, and then it started, to come. And you do have to take your own advice, and being in a community, I'd never looked at it that way before, but yes,
it's true.
That is massive.
Sometimes I'll, I do walk the talk, but sometimes I forget. And it's usually when my daughter, who's my youngest, and she'll come in and she'll go, Mum, you know what you tell other people, don't you? And I'm looking at her, and she'll start going off at me, and I'll be like, yeah. Damn. I think, why are you listening at the door and you know what I'm talking about?
I love that you've said that as well, because we're both the same. We've both got 16-year-old girls, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
And we are obviously doing something right, because they are coming in sassy and strong, right? And literally, when I say sassy and strong, my daughter, she's had a few confidence issues, which is again why I really want to do the courage and confidence things.
Mine too.
Yeah, but I do think it's an age. I have a dream, I have a vision, I have a wish that I want to get into schools and do something for courage, confidence, self-belief, sort of year 7, but that's another thing. But what I find with my daughter is she must be getting my messaging, because she gives me my own advice, like you just said. And it comes to us all. I've got another one where I want to do something with mum and daughter about courage, confidence, self-belief, because when I was at that decision-making point, and we know what it's like with 16 to 19-year-olds, if you've got daughters, mums and daughters, it's hard for that connect. It's hard to find common ground. And I'd love to bring something that brings confidence and self-belief to the daughter and to the mum, and they're both encouraging each other, because that would bring common ground as well. And that's another wish of something that I want to try and create if I can, because I think that would be hugely helpful. At the moment, my daughter's consumed with her GCSEs, mocks and things like that. Absolutely very different this year. It's very scary for them. And here's me. I mean, with my son, I pushed and pushed and pushed for him to do really well in his exams. He's 19. Obviously, I know I'm not telling you not to do your exams and stuff like that, but I know different now. I haven't got any of those big qualifications. I haven't been to university, and I've made this work. So you absolutely can still do it. So I kind of want to say to her as a mum, please don't worry. It's going to be okay.
I say that all the time. Yeah, don't worry. If it doesn't happen, there's something more you're going to do anyway.
Yeah. And, what will happen for you. And you've got me on your side. Flipping up, I do branding and business development. We can make this work for you. So you've got me in your corner. But in the same sense, that's not what she's needing to hear in some aspects, because she just needs me to support her at this point. But so we, as much as we're close, there's a bit of a divide at the minute, because she's so blinkered as to what she's got to achieve and where she's got to get. But the other day I had a huge breakthrough, and this was when we talk about freedom in your job and loving what you do and helping and things like that. I didn't think it was necessarily helping Jess. And then the other day, it was a massive moment for me. It was like massive joy. She sent me a poem. She says, "Mom, I was reading a poem the other day and it reminds me of you." And I was like, first of all, I was like, oh my God, connection, brilliant. I'm getting some time, because you don't get those lovely cuddles you used to get.
Oh, Mother Hubbard.
Yeah. And she sent me the poem, the YouTube version of Maya Angelou's I Rise. And when you listen to that poem, when you listen to Maya Angelou speaking about it, and she actually says in it, "Does my sassiness upset you?" And so there was that part of it as well, but the whole message, I thought, you know what, it's working. She does hear it.
I will.
Do you know what? I'll send it you. Yeah, because, but for anybody that is doubting themselves, for anybody, listen to it, because it is awesome. She's a big inspiration of mine, Maya Angelou. So her stuff is just phenomenal.
Well, my lovely, thank you so much for your sassiness and your inspiration today. It's been amazing. So if my listeners want to get in touch with you, how can they find your loveliness?
Across all platforms, it's Creativ-SAS, which is Creativ, no E, SAS, Creativ-SAS. There's no E on the end of creative, because there's no E on the end of Joe. And I spent years telling people that. So it was...
When you've got Jojo, so I mean, there's two E's going there. Yeah, definitely.
It's Creativ-SAS. I tend to hang out more on Instagram. There's a lot of pink. But Tara, thank you for having me. This has been
lovely. Thank you so much. I will definitely have you back another time, because you're a pleasure to talk to, and there's so much more we could talk about, but we're going to run out of time.
Loads. Sorry, wind it up. Come on, Joe. Off you go.
Bugger off. I'm hungry. No, I'm joking. Well, thank you so much for being with me, and I will speak to you again soon, darling. Take care.
Thanks, Tara. Bye. Bye.
Bye.